Hi, guys. Welcome back to Nichful Thinking with your host, Nichelle, aka Ohshells, on all social media. In this episode, we're going to be talking about vision and voice. Vision and voice. But before we jump straight into that, I just want to, get comfortable. I don't know. I want to get comfy. It's episode 2. I hope everyone really enjoyed episode 1. I know I got some really great feedback. So thank you for everyone who just slid in the DMs. Was like, oh, like you did pretty good. Da, da, da. Like, how about we put that in the comments? How about we give your girl 5 stars? Those are the things that would really, really help me and will be an easy way to show your support. So, yeah, initial thinking is lit. So, yes, vision and voice. I was looking through my notes and I was like, what are some things that I can talk about for episode 2? Not even just for episode 2, but just in general. I wanted to make sure I had a good plethora of just topics that I can touch on. And vision and voice like hopped out at me. So that's what we're covering today. Okay, so yeah, I was journaling and I remember like sometimes I like to look back at my journal entries and be like, what is it that you was feeling, girl? And one of the things that I realized, this was like probably 2018, 2019 is when I really started journaling, like for real, like I need help, like I need to write down my feelings or I'm literally going to combust, like that kind of energy. And one of the things that I noticed that I kept writing about was the fact that I didn't I didn't understand truly like what my voice was and what my vision was. Like people would ask me all the time, like, "Oh, what are your goals? Like, what do you see for yourself? Like, wow, you're so accomplished. Like, wow, you've done this, you've done that. Like, oh my God, you moved. Like, why? Like, that's so great." And I'm so intuitive, and like for me, it was like if I feel it, I'm gonna do it. I've always been that way. I love that is who I am. But growing up, it was like I was very task oriented. It was like I knew what it meant to be a good child and I just executed on what it meant to be a good child. Like I got straight A's. I was heavily involved in school. I was the, captain of this and the leader of that and made sure that I was involved and like shout out to, every BYO and HEAL helping each other achieve longevity and shout out to like, terpsies and twirling and synergy and being in soccer for 5 years and fencing. I was in ballet. I was doing all these things. I went to the Dance Theater of Harlem for a semester or two. Like I was just always in an activity, always placed in an organization, always within a construct where this is what it meant to achieve. And these are the things that you have to do to do so. I was in honors classes. I took AP classes. I was able to go to parties and I was also able to get A's. Like I just knew what was in front of me and executing on those things. So graduating college, even before then, like just growing up, it was just like I felt more comfortable around people who had strong opinions, who had like what they wanted to do. I was cool with going with the flow, and I think that's a great quality. But the other part that I didn't really strengthen was like, what do I want to do? Like, what does it mean to be Nichelle? What does it actually mean? Like, if someone was to ask me to describe myself, I would be choked up. I'd be like, I don't really know. Like, I didn't have a real view on what it meant to be me, the vision of me. Like, that was not something that I ever thought about. The reason being is because I was more concerned with being able to be happy in the morning and feel joy. Like, my goal was joy. My goal was achieving, getting positive reinforcement, and making sure that I wanted to wake up the next morning. Sometimes you don't have to live like quote unquote a terrible life or have, messed up parents or whatever, to have a mental like to have mental blockages. I've gone through things that have caused me to clam up and to like create a shell of a person, and it took time for me to realize that I was even doing that. Like I remember even in middle school, like middle school is such a weird time. Like you're just trying to survive. At least I was. I'm like, I just want to be a great person and I just want to like fit in and be okay. And like there were definitely people who stand out to me where I was like, I just want to avoid you. Like I just don't want to be around this. Like I'm just too sensitive. Like please, like honestly, when you are awkward and you're kind-hearted and you're in environments that don't always make you feel the most safest, it's like you just cling on to the things that do, i.e. my parents, my family, my little brother, like the friends that I've had like growing up. It's just like I was like, I don't know, like I just had this feeling inside that was like I'm just going with the flow so that I'm not perceived. Like sometimes I just didn't want to be perceived. some of it was that too. But fast forward, we get to college. That was a whole experience in and of itself. Loved my time there. Would never need to go back, but loved my time there. I grew a lot. And I came into contact with people who really challenged my sense of self. Like I feel like that was, I've had those type of people growing up, like just random, just haters and bullies and people that just love to like just see a reaction out of folks. And like I've observed folk like really push people. But I think for me, college is when I was like, oh, I'm being literally like, okay, like I really need to stand on something or I'm gonna fall for anything. Like that's what it really felt like. Graduating college around maybe a year or two later. So now we're at 2018, 2019. That's when I went to this conference with my mom. And my mom, she's like, come on, let's go. We out, we out. I'm like, all right, bet. So we go to this conference and it was like women empowerment. Like it's like, oh, like believe in yourself. Like, oh my God, like Black women unite. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. So I go to this conference with my mom. It was like probably a 45-minute to an hour drive. I don't even know how she found this conference at all. If I have a picture of us, I will post. I'll put it in the YouTube video. But we had done all these exercises, and one of the exercises required us to write like write a prayer to God and also write 5 main things that were standing in our way. And I kid you not, it was one of those conferences where I'm like boohoo crying. Like I had already given my life to Christ. I've already had like really breakthrough moments. Like I've been baptized, like really feeling like, damn, I'm just missing something. I don't know what it is. Like I really just need I don't know how to speak for myself. I don't know what to do next. Like, oh my God, people perceive I knew it's just such a weird feeling when people perceive you as being confident, able, and capable and achievement oriented. And then you have the intellectual knowledge of knowing that you are all things, but also feeling like, but I'm cosplaying a little bit. And I just don't feel like the confidence is coming from the inside out. And that is just my goal. My goal is to feel joy, is to like light up just from being alive. Like I was just like, I just want to be happy to be alive. Oh my God. So whatever. And saying it sounds dramatic to me, but that's literally how I felt. Like, oh my gosh, that feels like 3 people ago, but that's literally how I felt. So whatever. So we go to this conference, da 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 da. We doing these activities. I'm writing the prayer. I'm writing down the 5 things. And then she goes, circle the thing that is like troubling you the most. Like this is the biggest thing. Like when you look at it, this is the thing that you need. Like this is the big one. So I circle fear. I had self-esteem on there, I had different things on there, but fear was one of the ones that was circled for me. And I remember growing up, even as a young child, my mom will tell you, I was painfully shy. Painfully shy. Like my mom would try to practice like having me speak up for myself a little bit. And I'd be like, hey mom, can I get a candy or whatever? And she'd be like, ask the cashier like how much the candy is. I would be like, I don't want the candy no more. Like just the thought of even having to say that was just so like troubling for me, like painfully shy. Like I don't know what I was afraid of, but I always joke and say like I was born afraid. I was born afraid, literally shaking in my bones. Like it's so crazy. So I'm reflecting on these moments and I'm thinking to myself like, it's so hard for you to really hone in on your voice and for you to even have vision. Not even, it's hard for you to hone in on your voice when you're painfully shy and or you have fear that is like crippling you. Crippling fear is no joke. Okay, phobias and the fear of being and the fear of someone judging something that you don't even understand fully yet, not understanding yourself fully yet. I'm not saying that we ever will, right? And that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. This is Nichful Thinking. So I'm just, I'm spitballing here. I'm spitballing. But it's almost like not knowing your voice. Like, what do you stand for? What do you don't stand for? When you walk into a room, what is the essence of who you are? Like, can you explain that? Can you break it down? And do you really stand on that? Are you living this way? Do you feel it in your bones? Like, you have to have audacity and you have to have like, energy that is like you can say what you want, I know who I am, like that kind of confidence. Oh my gosh, I used to dream about that. Now it's like oh snap, okay, wait, no, like I really feel this way about myself now. Oh my gosh, like I'm in an answered prayer, like it's that deep for me. So voice, having a voice, having a posture, a position, having a confidence in what it is that you are here to do. Like, what are you here to ripple out into the world? Like, I really felt like I had my talents that would give me confidence, but just stripping all of that down just felt like, I just felt like it was this imposter syndrome. That's what it is. It's like this feeling, oh, they gonna find out I'm not really that good. And yeah, I'm in the AP class, but I got a B and I should have got a. It was like this weird thing that I had. And we could call it imposter syndrome, we could call it perfectionism, we could call it whatever we want to call it. But girl, I was just like crippled with fear and like just really felt like I don't even know what to do, what to say. Don't ask me my opinion. I can only riff off of others, et cetera, et cetera. And later on in life, I've realized that I'm really a social introvert, and I'm really social because I've learned how to mirror people and how to read people and how to understand people, but for the greater good, like to deeply understand, because I love to hear other people's voices. I love to bounce off of folks and riff off of folks for sure. Like but that's not a bad thing. That's a superpower. And then I call myself an introvert because I gain so much energy from being by myself. I'm so creative when I'm by myself. When I'm like sitting down and I'm just talking to God and like I'm having those moments, it's a whole different ball game for me. Like, so yeah, I definitely learned to live in my imagination at an early age. I learned how to mirror people at an early age. And it's not so much as people pleaser energy, but it was mirroring. Like, I know what I have to do to seek to get approval. That was kind of like the thing. And maybe I'll unpack that a little bit more in my future therapy sessions, if I get to that point. But I just feel like I'm very, very aware. And sometimes when you're too aware, you kind of box yourself in. Like, I had to learn to be present. There was a young, what's her name? Wait, let me pull up her at, because I want to shout her out. But we went to an event. I went to an event out here in Dallas recently, and wait, what's her? I'm gonna go in my DMs because I know she in there. And she was like, we said something, something. I forgot what the question even was, but she was like, "You just gotta be at where your feet at." Here we go. Gia J Fitness. I'm gonna put her at in the description. Let me screenshot this. Yogi.lock with a X at the end. But yeah, like meeting her was mad cool, and just being this newer version of myself that's just like happy to pop out and like be able to add to conversation and not feel like I only can do that with people who really understand me. No, I can express myself, and I know exactly what my voice is and my point of view is, and my integrity is set up a certain way, and my confidence is set up a certain way. So yeah, like voice is really important. But I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of background of who I am, how I became, and what that voice looks like a little bit. From a young age, it was like non-existent. And I thank God for real to be able to like hone in on what that looks like today. Before I get into vision, I do want to quickly say that I'm going to talk about the three main things that I think helped me craft my voice and vision. So yeah, just putting that out there. But vision, I want to get into, which I kept going back and forth about how I wanted to explain this. So yeah, I think for me at a young age, I mirrored people that I wanted approval from, and I also mirrored people. And when I say mirrored, I don't necessarily mean acted just like them. When I say mirrored, I mean filled in the gaps. Like, I can tell what you're lacking, and I will become the thing that helps the greater situation be whole. So if you're someone that's really, really good at the background stuff, I got really, really good at the front ground stuff. If you're someone that comes to me and you have a lot of issues in this area, I got really, really good at providing advice for that area. Like, I just was like the match, or whatever, however you want to say. Like, I became really good at being a puzzle piece. That was kind of like, when it's like blood types and it's like O is like compatible with A plus or A minus or B plus B. Like, I just became really good at being like the card that will just round it out, versus being Nichelle, and then the environment will just have to shapeshift around me. I got really good at shapeshifting in environments to make sure that everything felt copacetic. So that's when I say mirroring, that's what I mean. But I felt the need to explain that because not everybody knows kind of like what's in my mind. But here we go. So I felt like my judgment was clouded because of that. Like that ability is not necessarily a bad thing, but my judgment became clouded. So my voice and what it is that Nichelle wants and how Nichelle moves felt very, like it felt malleable, a little too malleable. You know, it's good to be go with the flow, but what happens when you, like, what does it look like for you to say, nah, this don't work? You know what I mean? Like, does it have to be the absolute worst case scenario for you to be like, no, I cannot do that? Like, nah, there's like steps before that. There's things in between. Like I remember thinking to myself, like, you will exhaust a situation just to say that you've tried everything you could. Why? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to exhaust every option. To me, that almost felt like, Nichelle, do you have things set in place where you're like, as soon as you see X, Y, and Z, it's not because you don't wish to understand deeper, but you just know what you stand on. Like you just have standards that are just that high. Like, why do you need to be the training grounds for people? Because you can? No. Sometimes the blessing is in being like, I don't like that. And because I don't like that, I'm not going to be around that because I care about me. And I know Nichelle does not thrive in that kind of environment, in that kind of energy, in that kind of X, Y, and Z. I'm just not doing it. Right? Like, why did I, well, let's see, because they did that on Monday, but maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, they, and then I'll talk to them on Thursday if they keep going. And nah, let's nip it in the butt right now. What are we afraid of? Like, it was just these things that I had to journal out and talk to myself. I will talk about journaling throughout this whole journey of Nichful Thinking because it just means that much to me. Like, it's helped me so, so much. But whatever. All right, let's get back on course. What was I even talking about? Okay, yeah. So that clouded my judgment. That made my vision super blurry. That's the connection there. It caused me to put everyone on a pedestal. It caused me to project positivity and light onto people who actually consciously and subconsciously meant me harm and or was selfish. Like there are people who want to see what they can gain from you, and I was in my mind truly believing that everyone is just here existing in who they are, and I'm like one of the only ones that are just trying to figure it out, and I'm being inspired by these people. And whole time I'm wondering why I'm exhausted, and it's because I am literally filling in all of the gaps for them. And that's why, sometimes you have to be very mindful. God has definitely blessed me with some like sturdy, secure people in my life, and I really, really am grateful, like throughout my life, like middle school, high school, college, like adulthood. Like I've come into contact with people as soon as I needed them who were like great souls, genuine people, and like, you grow apart and you go different separate ways sometimes, and sometimes people stick around, but I had to peep that. I had to peep that. I'm like, yeah, nah, you don't mean me well. You mean you well. And you want to stick around long enough to see what else I can provide to you energetically, monetarily, advice wise, experience wise. Like, how about we just come into a space and just want to be great together and have a great time, and then that be enough? But yeah, it led me to a place where I was like, WTF? What am I? Who am I? Like, and through connecting back with my creator, my faith, and having horizontal relationship with Mother Nature, yoga, dance studios, walks, etc., I've been able to see more clearly, but most important, I've been able to feel more clearly. I've always been an inside out person to my core, and you'll hear me speak a lot about that on social media at Ohshells. I need to feel it, and once I do, the passion will be there. I've been blessed to have documentation of my mind over the past few years and really learn more about what I've gone through. See, one thing about me is like I am really, really good at detaching. I've become really good at detaching through traumatic experiences. I've become really, really good at disassociating, and then it turned into healthy detachment. But I do feel like in this, and I'll break down the three main things that help me hone in on my voice and vision. I do think that being able to reflect back on experiences with the mind that you have now from yourself is super powerful. Like being able to imagine you could crack open a notebook from your 15-year-old self explaining exactly how you felt in that moment, like the pure emotion and energy of your 15-year-old self being documented on paper, and you in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like whatever, looking back and being like, oh shoot, what, I felt that way. Like it really is a outer body experience that I think everyone should take seriously and really attempt and really try. All right, let me get back to what my notes were saying. I've been blessed to have documentation of my mind over the past few years and really learn more about what I've gone through. In doing that, my passion and my vision have now been reignited in an external flame. Ooh, okay. I was really giving it to the girls. Okay, and I have that. And I have to thank God for that. Whew, okay, now let's jump into the three main ways I've honed in on my own vision and my own voice. Good job, Shelly. That was cute. That was cute. I like how I did that. But yeah, that's really what it is. Like, I really had to step back and be like, do I know me? You know what I mean? Like I was like, wait, do I know me? Because I know that I've changed. I know that I've developed, and I know for one thing's for certain, two things for sure. I'm not comfortable with being regular degular. You know what I mean? Like I'm not comfortable with being stagnant. And there were times in my life where the complacency was spilling over, and I'm like, what's going on here? Right? Why am I so comfortable being complacent? Why am I so okay with procrastinating so much? That's a whole nother episode for a whole nother time. I feel like procrastination. Ooh, I made a video about that on TikTok, and it went up. It did numbers. It did pretty good. But yeah, it's like I really had to like peel it all back. Like, why am I allowing myself to not do anything? You know? And why is no one reaching out to me and checking in on me? And why am I okay with that? And why have I been like, what is going on? Like, what's actually happening? Um, so yeah, that's something that I definitely want to speak a little bit more about. But back to the topic at hand. Yeah, the first thing that I would say helped me hone in on my voice and on my vision was being childlike. Um, I do find it very feminine to tap into like the wondrous imagination and like the carefreeness of it all. And like, what if we did this just because we felt like it? Like, I talk to my friend about that all the time, and we're like, sometimes you just need to make a left when you're supposed to make a right. You know, sometimes I remember feeling that way too, like maybe a month or two ago, where I was driving and the GPS wanted me to go the highway route, and I said, you know what? No, I'm gonna go the scenic route. I just feel like I just need to. I just keep like my arm was like, nah, we gonna go this way versus that way. And man, it was just like everything just looked so beautiful. It was mad birds in the sky. It was all synchronized. Like the sun was shining. The buildings looked all grand, and it was just like a gorgeous route that I had taken, and it wasn't that out the way. Like just be more childlike, go on adventure. What does that mean? That means when you was planning on just rotting in the bed on this Sunday, what if you just Googled the nearest park, went there for 5 minutes just to see what was going on? Just to see. You know what I mean? Like switch it up a little bit. The second thing, documentation. Okay. So just like the Bible, you need to document how your life is going. We don't know what the future holds, and our brains are not designed to hold our entire life story. Hello? Hello? You don't want to bank on your mind to remember everything. I forget what the numbers are, but we're consuming. What's the number? Let me see. I'm going to Google it real quick. 1 second. This is what I was thinking about. Okay, according to current scientific understanding, a significant portion of your sensory input, estimate to be around 95%, is processed subconsciously, meaning we take in and react to information without conscious awareness, with only a small percentage reaching our conscious mind for deliberate processing. 95% of your life is controlled by your subconscious mind. Hello? Hello? Like, you need to be documenting what's going on. Okay? Because you thinking, oh, I got it under control. Da, 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 da. You have blocked out like 14 historical moments in your life. You can't consciously remember everything. You cannot have everything in your consciousness sitting there chilling, waiting for you to go through the files and pull it out. We need to document, okay? And I say, yeah, like just like the Bible, like you have to have books. You have to have stories that you have of yourself that you're like, OMG. OMG. Like you need a Genesis. You need a Leviticus. You need a Numbers 1 and 2. You need Deuteronomy. Like you need Adams. Like you need that. I don't know what these characters are that come out, but it's like it's so serious. I was looking back at my writing from 2019, and then I looked at a more recent journal entry and I busted out crying. I said, oh, I didn't realize I grew this much. Here I am thinking, I'm just Nichelle, 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 Nichelle. The people that you have dated versus the people that you dated recently, the people that you have walked away from that you thought were going to be in your life forever, the things that you've been able to do without fear when you used to clam up and have physical body reactions over them. You're in Texas. Why are you in Texas? Like, you are literally, the rest is still unwritten. Feel the wind on your skin. Hey, no one else can feel it for you. Like, it's really given. You know what I mean? So yeah, document, document, document. I think it's extremely important. Don't rely on your mind because it will be distorted. Okay. Document your present, and lessons will always come out in the hindsight. Like when you read back, you're gonna be like, wow. So that's when I learned boundaries. Got it, right? Okay. And then the third thing, practice. You gotta practice, mamita. You gotta practice. What did I write for this one? Let's see. Okay, practice. You won't truly feel your vision and voice until you practice what you feel it is. Interesting. The amount of pivots I've done, the amount of times I've had to practice my intuition and forgive myself for making choices that led to unfavorable outcomes. The amount of times I've betrayed my wants and sacrificed what I knew to be right for me for the sake of others. The amount of times I almost had a full cup but decided to give it all away to things that didn't fill me back up. I mean, damn. Your girl has been practicing. Your girl has been practicing. It took me until 28, 29 to say, hold up. No is a complete sentence. I am who God says I am. I've learned to love and power myself up from all this disappointment. Let's quiet the noise, say no to people often, and start really digging into what it is that feels the best for Nichelle. That's a word. That's a word. That's a word. Okay, I say it all the time. What are you offboarding? Before you onboard anything, you need to be thinking about what are you offboarding. You don't got that much room. Okay, create more than you consume and understand what it is that you are letting go so that you can allow in. We gotta make room, people. Okay, that was nice, but you gotta practice. I definitely have to practice like my voice and like being okay, and like I wouldn't say it took me until 28, 29 to say hold up. I feel like it took me until probably 26 to say hold up, and it took me until probably about 2 years to really get that practice in, you know what I mean? But now, coming into the next decade of my life soon, I'm like, yeah, like I don't need extra space. I don't have to exhaust every option. Like, glory be to God for that. Like, thank you, Lord, for that. Okay? Okay. Closing takeaways. Like, my notes is nice. I want to be looking at the camera, but this is audio first. And, I'm just letting y'all see me. So that's good. But anyway, closing remarks. Let's see what I wrote down. I pray you to great things. Okay. No, this is serious because I really wanted to say this. All right, ready? All right. I pray you take great things from this. I know you did because I felt it. If so, take the time to pour it back into me, give me 5 stars, and comment what you feel called to comment. What stuck out to you? What made you feel? What was triggering? What did you disagree with? I'm sharing my heart so that I can have a release, but I also find it crucial to grow with my community. In later episodes, we'll dig into why feedback is such a beautiful thing. I think that's super important to put out there. But oh, that was nice, Nichelle. For real though, like let me know what you agreed with. Let me know what you felt. Let me know when you're like, I wasn't really feeling that part, or why did you feel that way, or that's so weird. I didn't never thought about it like that, or that's so interesting, or like I really love this, or like, well, I think about it this way. I really, 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 like I said before, I feed off of that. Like I love hearing other people's perspectives, and so I definitely would appreciate that. If I could just say anything else, I mean, shoot, I feel like that was about the highlights. I feel like I did everything I needed to do in this episode. Vision and voice, you want to really hone in on what your voice is, but it takes practice. It takes you documenting what it is that you've gone through. It takes you understanding like what it is that you're rippling out in the world. Like from young, I knew I had to do it from the inside out. I grew up around my mom. Oh my gosh, that's a whole, I have to talk about Cheryl Ann Hawkins. Like that lady, from before I can even remember, she'd be like, I don't respect a thief and I don't respect a liar. Like, don't cosplay nobody, stand your ground, like stand for what you stand for, like very, very, very serious about that. It was ingrained in me. My father is somebody who is like, your word is your bond. Like, how you come into the world matters. He's very like external, and my mom was very internal. And I just took the good parts that I perceived of both of them, and it was like, okay, let me turn into Megatron. Like, I really want to do it. I know I can be who I want to be if I work hard at it. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm in a space in my life now where I'm definitely in a waiting season, and I'm definitely enjoying every bit of the journey. We're going to talk more in later episodes about this winter arc and this hottie hibernation and like building yourself back up. But for this episode alone, really vision, voice, take it easy on yourself, but make sure you remember to be childlike, have an adventurous spirit and an adventurous heart. Don't let that harden. Don't be like, oh, that's child play. No, do something different. You have free will. Shake it up and see what happens. Be in your childlike energy. Document your life, right? So that your future self can remember and or reflect and see what it is you even felt like. Again, I've surprised myself with some of the things that I was writing down, and then I would transport to those times and be like, wow, I did cry myself to sleep quite a bit during that time. That's so interesting. Like, you literally, like, you are rewiring your mind every single day. You are reprogramming. 75% of your life is controlled by things that you're not conscious about. Okay, that's scary. That's very interesting. So take it easy on yourself, but document it. Be in your childlike energy and practice. Oh, you acting different. Great. That was the goal. Like, yes, I'm so happy that I no longer feel comfortable to you. I'm not supposed to. I'm trying to be different. This is literally the point. So, yeah. Definitely do those three things, and I would love, love, love to hear you come back and just let me know your feedback. Like, I'm someone who's like, I'm looking at the comments. I'm really, really pushing this thing forward. I feel very, very passionate about my voice these days and my vision and what I see for my life. And I really want to build a community that is on the same wave, the same type of stuff. So I really pray to God this audio took. I think it did. If you see me looking, if you're watching this, you see me looking over here, it's because I can see the monitor, like I can see what it looks like right now, and I'm hoping everything is coming out right. I don't have 20/20 vision, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm just super excited for the rest of this journey and to hear your feedback. So yeah, thank you so much. Again, like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Pod, give me 5 stars. I want nothing less. I'm going to be very honest about that. I'm extremely sensitive, and I would love positive reinforcement and positive feedback, if I'm being quite honest. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you. Follow me. Make sure you follow the pod, and it really does help. If you have any stories that you would like to share, I'm doing this thing now where I'm like gonna put it out there a bit more. Email me at nichfulthinking@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to talk about, put it in the comments. Definitely exercise that email. Let me know if you are feeling it. You know what I mean? Because I know I am. So I'm excited. I'm excited. But yeah, this is episode 2 of Nichful Thinking. And thank you. I appreciate you. Love you. Mean it. Bye.